SWBC Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by #1 Air, the official HVAC and electric partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org. Buffalo Wild Wings. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton and Kevin Gray.
Speaking of the Crimson Tide, our Cowboys legend joining us this week, former number 56 overall pick in the 2001 NFL Draft out of Alabama, 4 years all with the Dallas Cowboys, 56 career games with America's team. Tony Dixon joining us this week at the Cowboys Club. Tony, what's going on?
Hey, nothing much. Happy to be here, and been chatting over Nate before this, and then Nick, we go way back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I knew he was going to say something about that Arkansas game.
Hey,
it
was almost a win for us.
Ain't no more victories around here.
Okay.
Look, he said, look, we're going to come with it. We're going to come strong with it. No more victories
glad
here
I didn't have to say
tonight,
nothing,
bro.
I'm just saying.
When your team's in the SEC West, you got to do the best you can do.
I know. Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
We'll have plenty of Crimson Tide talk later on in the show, of course, with our guy Tony Dixon. They take on Tennessee this weekend.
That's right.
Taking on Rocky Top, so looking forward to that SEC matchup this week. He told me something very interesting before the show that we'll have to get into a little bit later on when it comes to the Alabama-Tennessee rivalry versus the Alabama-Auburn rivalry.
That's
so
right.
we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. But let's get into the Cowboys. Cowboys get the 2017 win. Nick, you're a historian. The second time the Cowboys have beaten the Chargers, 2017, by way of field goal to win that game. The last time they were at SoFi Stadium, a young man by the name of Greg Zuerlein got the win with the game-winning field goal. This time, as Dak Prescott likes to call it, Butter Aubrey. The Brandon Aubrey continues his perfect season, 20-17 win. Nick, I'll start with you. Biggest takeaway from SoFi Stadium and the Cowboys picking themselves up after what was a disappointing loss in San Francisco.
That right there, getting the win, figuring out a way, just like Nate said, it wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. That's what they needed to do. And also, to me, Dak Prescott was a football player that plays quarterback. Not a quarterback that plays football. He was a football player. He was running.
He's loving that. He's loving that. That's right.
Touchdown, running away from people. I don't know who he was running away from, but that guy's obviously not that fast because,
Derwin James, Florida State product, boy.
Okay. Great play. Faked everybody out, and it was an awesome display, but they needed it so bad, and he delivered.
Hey, I'm with you, man. Tony, brother, what you thought about that,
Hey,
man?
listen. As a former player, the worst thing you can do is take a L right before a bye week. Right? So coming off the game that they had, they didn't play their best game. They know they didn't play their best game. There was a way to going out and proving, like, hey, we still Dallas Cowboys. We are still the team you all thought we were. And quite candidly, sometimes you need that. So when you look at that mirror and say, oh, I still got it. I still got it.
One of the things that stood out to me in watching the very end of the game, and Nick, obviously you were there, the elation from Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, Micah Parsons, you could tell it felt like a sense of relief after winning that football game, given what happened in San Francisco. What was that locker room? What was the atmosphere like in Los Angeles, knowing that they were able to get themselves that win, as Tony mentioned, going into the bye week?
Relief. Just like what you said, because as Tony mentioned, you don't want to have another loss, because now you're really starting to doubt yourself. Okay, we heard it all week. We heard it all week with Dak, CD. What's wrong with the offense? And then you lose. If you lose to a team with an offensive coordinator that you let go. And now they're doing all right. You're not. I mean, so it would have been the longest 6 weeks, which is only 2 of a bye week. And so I think everybody's relieved about that. You're sitting at 4-2, much different than 3-3.
And Nick made that point there. Nick, I want to go to you on that, because the difference between 3-3 and 4-2 going into the bye week, how big of a difference, knowing that you saw the Philadelphia Eagles lose, you saw San Francisco lose this past week as well. What does that do for this team now as they get ready for this bye week and then prepare for the Los Angeles Rams?
I'm just sitting here enjoying this. Tony, answer the question, Tony.
I asked you, Nate. I'm going to get to Tony. I asked you first, man. Nate's like, I did enough talking for this. That's what it is. He's like, I talked enough.
He was already with Nick earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
that's what he's doing.
I've already given my stuff away.
I see what he's doing.
Hey, but bottom line is, anytime you can be at 4 wins going into your bye week, and this part of the season, if you look at everything else that's going around the league right now, it is important for you to come out of the gate and have that success. Now, we can throw that one loss away. We know that we didn't show up as a team. right? So you're walking away with that. But like Nick said, if you did not come out and perform this game, regardless of what this is not a moral victory.
Right.
This is a victory.
Yes.
Getting that W for this game.
Hold on now.
is going to set it up.
You saw what he did there. You saw what he did
and
there.
help build that confidence.
Because a moral victory will put you at 3-3.
That's
Yes.
right. Yes.
But a physical,
That's a great point.
fighting through, grinding victory will have you where you can at least hang out with your mom and dad or your kids and your wife or your friends and not see. They are free to enjoy themselves.
Feel good about life.
But if they would have lost this game, they would have been just sitting at home like they'd have been driving or flying wherever they're like, what's wrong? You all right? Yeah, man, we lost again, man.
Yeah.
Right.
And they start doubting themselves. You know, and then they start looking for more victory that ain't there.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You good, Nick? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. And if you don't know, this is an inside joke that has gone for 3 years now with me and Nate. And I'll say this, though. You do have more season to go. So if you do have a tough loss, you've got to figure out to find a way to build from it and learn from it. And that's – I think we're saying the same thing. I'm not trying to accept – losing, but when you do lose a game, you got to take the positive from it and say, all right, what can we do here, and here, and see if we can make it. Because moral comes from the word morale. Your morale's got to be high.
Yeah.
And so you can't stay in the ditch if the car goes in there. You got to get it out.
You got to get it out first by you getting yourself out.
That's right.
And then you figure out, you call a record to get that car out. But on a more serious note about what you asked me earlier, if these guys, and I mean that, now they can play with the kids. They can go out with their significant others. They can do all the things with a free mind. Because the serious players, the guys that really care about this win-lose record, I'm telling you, I've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Oh, yeah.
Where you be like, wow, man, you all right, babe? Nah, we lost that game.
Yeah.
And and the way you lost to the 49ers, you saw some of that residue carry over to the Chargers. But they fought through that. And somehow, some way, they won that game. Now, that morale that Nick is talking about, it is there and it is encased in your heart, bro.
Yeah.
That was a good victory, I think, for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Let's start on the offensive side because we saw some different things against the Chargers that we hadn't seen. Hello, Brandon Cooks. We saw some involvement from him, had the touchdown catch in the game. Nick, I'll start with you. What did you see different from this offense, whether it was CeeDee Lamb, the amount of targets he was able to get early on in the game, Brandon Cooks? What did you see differently from the offense this past week?
I saw, go back to what I said, I saw Dak running and kind of had a feel for the game a little bit more, not afraid to take off and run when it's there. We saw Cooks, like you said, and they threw the ball kind of on the outside of things. Touchdown was outside, a lot of things kind of on the outside. But that one pass, you're not supposed to do this, Dak, but him just being with it instinctive, rolling right, and then throwing it back across his body to Pollard.
There goes Tony Pollard.
Made a play. I thought it was like Dak was wearing 15 at Mississippi State again, just doing his thing.
Thank you. Kevin, we've been working together. Me and Nick been working together forever, man. And I said every year, and I told Nick on his show Storyline, it's only so many ways I can keep saying this.
Yeah.
Dak is a football player. To me, he's one of the greatest football players I've seen that can throw the ball. When he plays with his instincts, when they say, okay, you got one read, two reads, throw the ball away, or if it's any yards to be gained, gain those yards. And when Dak start playing like that, when we put back in the options, the pass, run options, whether it's to the tight end, to the quick slant, or to a running back, when those options are there and he's just flowing and not being mechanical, we have a different quarterback.
Different
And
guy.
I think we can be in every game if Dak has this at his disposal.
Yeah.
Tony, let's take it to the defensive side of the football because this was a defense that was much maligned coming into the game against the Chargers. The Chargers had Austin Eckler back running the football. They were able to control him in the running game. But defensively, this team was able to pick themselves up as well. What did you see from the defense on Monday night that allowed them to get the win?
Hey,
where they did?
I'm gonna start with the defensive backs. Like the defensive backs came to play, right? And when you have the front seven that you have in this defense, as a defensive back, you love it.
Yeah.
You love it. Now, you know they're going to double Micah. You know they're going to have some opportunities, but you saw what Lawrence did. You saw what the young kid, what's his name, number 14?
Marquise Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Florida A&M, baby.
Hey, no pun intended, but he answered the bell.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that at my day job, that's all the talk has been this week. Oh, man, this kid showed up and showed out, right? So when you have those type players that step up and make plays that you thought could make the play, but now they're actually making the play, that helps the entire morale of the defense, right? And now it's about controlling the game.
Yeah. And you saw that at the end with Micah Parsons stepping up big to get the big sack, which led to Stephon Gilmore with the interception.
Big-time players step up in big-time situations.
Yeah.
That was the calling.
I was in the press box, and I said to the guy next to me, I said, Micah, if you want to be that guy, that Lawrence Taylor and all that stuff, like this is where you have to make a play and close the game. And
he did that.
He did. I mean, he did. And they brought Gilmore in, and Gilmore kind of had a struggle game. You know, Keenan Allen is a tough matchup.
Tough matchup, yeah.
But he makes the play, at the end of the game, and because of that pressure was there too.
But you didn't see the stat that you didn't see was the pressure.
Yeah.
Right. If you look back, like they were very disruptive to the quarterback.
Yes. They were.
Yeah, and those are things that don't show up in stats. But it definitely helped the back end of the defense.
Herbert missed Keenan Allen twice on deep ball.
Yeah, he had a double move that he hit.
He would hit all day long, and I agree. The pressure was there too.
It was there.
One person I got to particularly shout out in this game, and he's been spectacular all season. Osa Digizua from inside in the interior has been fantastic for this team, and you saw him emerge yet again, had a nice tackle for loss against Austin Eckler in that game. Osa has been fantastic for this team so far this year.
He's growing. Each year he gets a little bit better. He just need to bring his partners with him for the next 11 games. He just need to bring his partners with him.
Isn't it funny when you're playing a certain position and they draft someone at your position in the first round?
Yeah.
That's a wake-up call. Now, Mozzie Smith, he's having a hard time getting on the field consistently because Osa, Gallimore too, they've looked at that like, all right. Message received.
Oh, yeah.
And for Dan Quinn, I thought for him, obviously, we talked about with Kellen Moore being on the other side as the offensive coordinator. Did you feel like going into this week that maybe Dan Quinn took this game maybe a little bit more personal, not just for what happened against San Francisco, but knowing he was going up against his former office mate in Kellen Moore and being able to take him out in the game on Monday night?
Coaches have belief and pride, too.
Yeah.
They do, man. And they may not come out and say it because they don't want to do the bulletin board thing, but I think, when Jimmy got here, when Coach Johnson got here, he said I would not repeat some of the things he would say to us about games and certain situations. So, but anyway, go ahead on, Tony.
I mean, hey, bottom line is you want to beat your little brother.
Yeah.
and in that situation, you're going to look at it and you're going to make it competitive and say, I want to beat my little brother. And I think that's what Coach Quinn did.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, shout out to your old head coach. He was at SoFi Stadium. Him and Jerry had a nice little moment before.
I like what they
Did
both,
you see him?
They both do that TV thing. Oh, man. How you doing?
They kept it cute for the TV, is what you're saying?
They probably, as soon as they turned away, that's mother.
Hey, it's all that matters, though. Jimmy was in the house and the Cowboys got the win. That's all that mattered on Monday Night Football.
Right.
It's Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan. Nate Newton, Nick Eatman of DallasCowboys.com. Our Cowboys legend, Tony Dixon, joining us live at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Coming up next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, let's talk about Mike McCarthy a little bit and what he was able to do to change some things for this offense that led to a win against the Chargers. We do that next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Back to Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk. Yeah, check this out. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Back on Cowboys Crosstalk, presented by SWBC, live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Kevin Gray of 105 to the Fan, Nate Newton, Nick Eatman of DallasCowboys.com, and our Cowboys legend Tony Dixon joining us here at the Cowboys Club. Appreciate you joining us however and wherever you may be listening to us. SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit SWBCmortgage.com to find a pro today. Let's talk about this Cowboys offense that was able to find a way to generate enough against the Chargers and Brandon Staley's defense to be able to get a win on Monday night. Nate, I want to start with you because we talked about a little bit what Mike McCarthy was able to get from his quarterback. What else did you see from the receivers, particularly with Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, and others that you felt good about that they can start to build upon as they go into this bye week here?
To me, it's always going to be about our quarterback and is he flowing? And that's the first thing I noticed, that he felt good and he was flowing and moving. Our offensive line didn't play well, but they found a way to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, which I'm all about that. Mm-hmm. And Brandon Cooks found the end zone, which I'm all about that. Now we need to just, continue to get better as an offensive line and get some continuity so that the rest of the tools on the offense can flow.
What did you see, Nick, from that?
Well, I thought, it all starts with Dak. Like you said, they just kind of had to figure out a way. They stuck with the game plan. They kept running the ball. I understand. Gallup's the guy that's going to get the targets. He got 10 targets, only caught 3. But one thing I know about Gallup, as soon as you write him off and say, this guy's not the answer, he's a number 3 or whatever, overpaid, he's going to make this toe-tapping catch on the sideline. He's a product of the offense. Okay, Cooks had a good game. We've got to stop Cooks, got to stop CD, and that's when Gallup's going to make a play. So I'm not as worried about that. I don't worry about the price tag of what he's doing. Not right now. I think he's a quality number 3.
Yeah. Well, nobody care about the price tag when the season starts, right? At that point, if you delivering plays, I think what I saw in that is the comfort. I saw an offense that was having fun. I saw an offense that was looking confident, and we didn't see that some weeks prior to that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's something to build on.
Yeah.
Like they laid a brick. They obviously worked on some things and made some adjustments, and those adjustments showed during this game. So now the question is, hey, what do we do in this particular bye week to build on what we started there and keep that confidence flowing?
And another thing I saw is Tony Pollard. He's not Zeke. He's not built that way. He's afraid of nobody. And so Derwin James is coming down on that touchdown play. He comes across the field or across the pocket, makes that block, at least slows it down enough for Cooks to kind of get open. That's all it needed. And, he sticks his nose in there. He's not the same type of back. We know that. Yeah. But he's still he's being effective. And I think he's kind of finding out his role of being the number 1 back.
Yeah. 2 things that stuck out for me, and you started to touch on them with Tony Pollard in terms of the run game. I'll go to the offensive line. I know, Nate, you're an expert when it comes to the offensive line. I was a little concerned with some of the protection, some of the run blocking. Tyler Biadasz was a little bit concerning to me based off of what we saw in that game as well. Is that something based on what you saw and observed from the game? Is that more of a continuity issue, or is there something else that you're seeing that needs to get cleaned up as they get ready to take on Los Angeles?
These guys are beat up, and that's just the reality of it. You got a right tackle that's coming off ACL that's still finding his groove. You got a right guard that got a little banged up, but what is it, a knee or ankle or something? Yeah. And then your center got an ankle and a hamstring, which I never knew that we had hamstrings as linemen. But and your left tackle is aging, bro, right before your very eyes. This is the year where it is caught up with our left tackle. Now, our left guard just play with bad technique sometimes, so he gonna have an error here and there because he's trying to be physical. He's just got to learn. Let the guy. He had a guy blocked 3 times and just will not let him go. But they have to get some continuity. I kept telling y'all, forget that best 5 offensive linemen. Work for continuity. You can have average linemen, but if they're all on the same page and meshing and willing to work hard, you're going to get a good offensive line. Yeah. He's a great athlete, but they haven't played together. So continuity is going to be a key, and getting healthy is going to be a major deal.
Nate, let me ask you. You played tackle and guard, obviously.
Yes, sir.
Did you?
I love guard.
Okay, yeah.
And I love guard. I don't want to dance with prima donna ballerinas.
Okay.
I want a raging bull.
My question is, did you ever have to move a lot, like in
Not
the middle
during
of
the
a game?
Oh, not during the game.
A season?
We didn't play that. Now, we started out with our main five.
Yeah.
And then we had Alan Weingrad was our swing tackle. Then we had Kevin Gogan as our swing guard. And we had to have an extra center because, we just didn't have a swing guard and center. But those were our guys.
So Tyler Smith, strong as an ox, got the size.
Right.
But you say technique's the problem. And I wonder, he's moved from tackle to guard. He's done that.
Right.
Is that part of it when you're not getting you're doing a lot of different things but not zeroing in?
It's a little different, but he's been at guard. And if they want to play him there, play him there. If they want to play him at tackle, play him there. My deal is when you used to go to switching around game to game to game, it can get confusing for a guy sometimes. Even though he's a great talent, what the key words that me and Tony would use may not be the key words that me and you would use.
Yeah.
In trying to get games, because games have never gotten the Cowboys offensive line. What is happening here? Well, your left tackle, as great as he's been, or first ballot Hall of Fame, whatever you want to call it, he's not that guy now.
Right.
And Tyron, don't get mad at me. I love you, bro, but you're not that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and injuries are beating them up.
Sure.
And boy, they got a lot of more games, Tony. They got a lot more games to play.
From an overall takeaway standpoint, Tony, what did you see that you want to now see go forward for the overall totality, whether it be Mike McCarthy as a play caller or some of the things that you saw situationally from the Cowboys offensively?
I think take more chances. I think it's been one of those situations where we've been comfortable, right? And we've been running the script, but I think we're at the point now where you got to take some chances, right? And what you do with that, what happens with that, even if you don't make that play, you loosen the defense up.
Yeah,
right.
You make the defense believe, like, wait a minute, have they changed their mojo now? Like, so they're gonna attack us this way. And I think if you can change it up just a little bit, make it just a little more exciting, it'll make a difference.
Nick, there was a lot of conversation between Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb coming into the Chargers game about their abilities to get on the same page. CeeDee Lamb making it very clear he wants to be on that Jamar Chase, I'm open all the time type of plan.
Right.
And you saw that early on in that game where he was able to get the 7 targets and 7 catches. What did you see particularly from CeeDee Lamb that you want to see going forward from him?
I think when guys like Michael Irvin would always want the ball and Dez Bryant would want the ball, and, not to steal Keyshawn's line, but throw him the damn ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because these are guys that are proven that they, and CD came out and caught every pass thrown his way. 7 targets, 7 catches, and some really nice plays. I like the maturity of him to say before the game, I can't do that. I can't do that to my quarterback. I can't do that. I will be better. And Dak said the right things. We'll figure it out in-house. We're not worried about that. And they go out and they execute together. I like that. I like the maturity of both of them to go and do that. And Dak understands that CD wants the ball. CD understands that there's more to it. It's not like Dak had a clean pocket very much in San Francisco. So when you see it all, you come together and cooler heads prevailed, and they go out and then they execute it the next week.
Nate, you played with somebody who was the personification of give me the football because I'm a playmaker, and talking about Michael Irvin, of course. Do you like that attitude from CeeDee Lamb and being vocal about the idea that he wants to be the guy that makes these plays for this team?
This is where I think CeeDee Lamb, the only mistake he made, because y'all know I'm backing him. I started backing him last year. So I'm on this train all the way. Where he had his one mistake is that he let it get personal with his quarterback. Michael Irvin never. I said, Mike, one time I said, Mike, he was so mad he was cussing me out. I said, well, Mike, hold on, Troy right there. And he looked at me. He said, I'm not going to ever. He told me straight up, I'm not going to ever talk to my quarterback that way. I'm not going to ever let him know that I'm upset. But now if he hear I'm upset, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, yeah, so you cussing me out because he's sitting right over there here, okay? But that is the only problem CeeDee Lamb had. That's the only problem I had with CD. Other than that, he give him the ball.
Yeah.
Give him – at the end of the day, he should have 5 more targets than the closest receiver on this team.
Do you like that type of attitude from a player who's like, look, give me the ball. I want to be that guy.
Listen, man,
and show it out for it.
Even as a defensive player, I like that attitude.
Right,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Because not only that, once you have a wide receiver on your team that's operating with that attitude, everybody improves because the intensity in practice picks up, the intensity in the game picks up, and then when you go and you do what you say you want to do,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
changes the complexity of the game, right? So yes, I love to see that.
It's interesting because when we talk about wide receivers, kind of a more of a prima donna, diva
They
type
are
of
prima
position.
donnas.
But
They
at the
are,
same
man.
time, but when we've seen some of the greats, they are the ones that want the ball in that moment.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb making that very known and very plain this past week. I want to be the guy that's going to be making these plays, and you saw it to come to fruition when it came to his abilities to make those plays. I want to see more of that going forward, not just the attitude that he displayed, but more importantly now, how does that translate game in the game and making sure that
Consistency of catching that rock.
Exactly,
That's right, yeah.
exactly. And you mentioned Nick, 7 for 7 from targets and catches for over 115 yards in that game. CeeDee Lamb looked like every bit of the number one guy that he wants to be.
And different than Dez and Michael, I think, is that he could play the slot a lot more. Michael played some in the slot, but Dez really didn't.
Oh, he's
And-
a slot player,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. But when CD has learned to
I'm
play
talking
all
about
the
CD
positions-
is a
right.
slot player.
I
He
don't
can
know
do
if
it.
Michael. I don't remember.
No, Mike wasn't going down in there.
No, right. And neither did Dez. And so it's just hard for teams to say, okay, we're going to take him out of the game when he can slide into the slot, go out, go in, and all that stuff. You can't just match up all the time. The Jets, they didn't care. They were like, well, just do whatever, and then he went for 150. So I think by doing the way he's doing, I think Cooks and Gallup will both have better games coming forward.
Yes, they will.
Listen, the thing that people don't talk about is like we always talk about you play like you practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. But at the same time, if you're not doing it in the game, that's the ultimate practice.
Yeah.
So the more you can get those reps in practice, the more you can make those catches, the more you can break away from that defender, the more confident you're gonna get.
They don't practice like they used to when y'all played.
I know.
He's like, that's what I'm trying to
That's
tell you.
kind of why I threw that in there.
Let's take our next break here on Cowboys Crosstalk, presented by SWBC. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan, Nate Newton, Nick Eatman, and our Cowboys legend Tony Dixon joining us live at the Cowboys Club. Coming up next, let's switch our attention to the defensive side of the football. What we saw from Dan Quinn's defense that we hadn't seen against San Francisco. We detail it next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Back to Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk. Check this out. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Back on Cowboys Crosstalk, presented by SWBC, SWBC PEO, helping to alleviate the HR administrative burden that comes with running a business. Leave the worrying to us. Visit SWBCPEO.com to find out more. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan. My partner Nate Newton, 6-time Pro Bowl, 3-time Super Bowl champion, member of the Black College Football Hall of Fame, proud Arkansas Razorback, Nick Eatman, and Crimson Tide's own Tony Dixon, our Cowboys legend, joining us live at the Cowboys Club here at the Star in Frisco, live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Gentlemen, let's turn our attention to the defense and what we saw on Monday night as the Cowboys were able to hold Justin Herbert in that offense to 17 points. Tony, I'll start with you. Stephon Gilmore sealing the game with the interception. Deron Bland having a nice pass breakup on a 4th down to be able to keep the Chargers out of the end zone. What did you see from Dan Quinn's defense, particularly in the secondary with guys like Marquise Bell and others that really got your attention on Monday night?
Grit, man. I saw grit. I saw a will to win. And I think the defense took it personal and said, we're gonna be that group that make the play to change the game. And you kept seeing them doing it. Like, it was a couple plays that we missed early in the game that could have been game changers as well. But to see them end the way they ended, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, both touchdowns I think were on short fields for
Very
the Chargers. So,
Yep.
I mean, they did a nice job of kind of getting out of their own end zone. But when you have a great defense, you got to make them work for it, and I think that's what the Cowboys really did a nice job is they gave up a couple, but for the most part they made them work.
The residue from that game, that prior game, just filtered all through the game.
It felt a little bit on that first drive in particular,
and they just kept fighting, and these are the games that you have to strain through and win.
Yes.
And they were on the road.
Yes.
So I was happy that they did
Sorta.
that.
I'm about to say, Nick, what was the crowd like?
60-40 Dallas. 60-40
I'm
Dallas.
gonna tell you something. You can hurt. I've been like that. We've been on the road and we've had great fans. But them dudes out there that's balling, the Derrick James of the world, the Khalil Mack.
Morgan Fox was really good for them too. Yeah.
They still at home.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. When I walked up, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the elevator. I'm going down to the field at the end of the game. And I got on the elevator and I heard a huge roar, and I was like, oh man. And it was a sack by Micah Parsons. Yeah. And then another big roar was an interception. Yeah. So
I tell you can roar whatever, but they didn't wake up in Dallas. They didn't wake up.
No, I know. It's a road game.
So they played, my friend.
Yeah.
They played, and like you said, a couple of plays early where it could have probably went the other way. But I would like to believe those plays would have went the other way, I would like to believe that Coach McCarthy and Dak and those guys would have been able to open up and answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is. Let me say this before I forget, Coach. Love you to death. Gonna back you to the end. No more 4th and 1s. Kick the field goal. It helps your defense. I'm just being honest.
It's funny because you're bringing that up, and we're thinking about, of course, at the end of the first half.
Yes.
Mike McCarthy with 8 seconds left decides not to take the shot at the end zone.
No, I'm talking about
the one before that.
Talking about the push.
Okay.
Because if you're gonna play to the strength of your defense, they always gonna be like, yo, we got 3. They ain't thinking like us. Like, man,
hold on.
3. You
wait, so let me back up. So did you not like you were talking about the 18-yard touchdown from Dak Prescott?
He's talking about the push.
The push.
Okay. I'm talking about
There's too many 4th downs in the game. Too many 4th downs in the game.
Yeah. I got an issue with that too.
Okay.
Because you're not hiding it from anybody. You got 2 guys behind you. You can only do 2 things. You're going to kneel it down or you're going to do a push. So, I mean, Rico Dowdle, Hunter Lipke, cool. How about Mozzie Smith?
Right.
You're the strongest guy ever. You get back there and shove him forward.
Right.
I mean, what are they going to do? Like, oh, Mozzie's there. They must be pushing him. Oh, who cares?
Yes.
My He's not playing a lot on defense. Like, come on.
My thing is this: 3 points. If we're going to cater to our defense, defensive players don't look at it as offensive players. Like, we'll walk up like, okay, we got 3 as offensive, but we want the 6. Get the 3. Give your defense the different mindset.
Okay, you say that, but they got down 7-0. Residue of the 49er game. They were driving. They had to answer, and it's 4th and 1. Yeah. They had to answer early in the first quarter, and Dak did the keeper fake for the touchdown. So I think you have to play. Got to feel the game.
I'm with that. But that right there, when you getting back in the game and you in the game, go on and get them points.
Go get the points. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you believe in your defense,
Yeah.
it ain't got nothing to do with your offense. It got something to do with your defense.
True.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some situational football because obviously
That we weren't just talking about.
no. I want to go back. No, I want to go back to the end of the first half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
with,
here we go.
With 8 seconds. And
Yeah.
I saw your tweet about it too. I was like, yeah, Nick wasn't too pleased about that. But 8 seconds left in the first half. How did you feel like Mike McCarthy played out the situation? Obviously, he looked like he was playing for the 3 points
this
there.
all
Hey,
Nick.
And
here we go.
I'm about to say, how did you feel about that particular situation there?
Does Coach come up here?
I think you're good tonight. I think you're good.
No. It's really not so much the 8 seconds one as from the 14-yard line. It's the one of 50 seconds, and you didn't call a timeout, and you let it go to 28 before you snapped it. That's the one that I had a problem with on that one, and I hope that was a Rangers home run. It was not.
No, it was not.
Okay, so I had a problem with 50 seconds to 28 because then you now you're really behind the 8 ball, and now all you're really going to do is settle for a field goal. So
Yeah.
I kind of think I would have called it earlier. But from the 14-yard line with 8 seconds to go and a timeout, I don't think you're going to throw it into the end. I think you're going to throw another short pass, try to see if he can break one to get in. If he gets tackled, bang the timeout and kick it. But I would have done something else with 8 seconds to go. But you got to remember, 5 sacks, a ton of penalties. Mike's just thinking, like Nate said, go get the field goal.
Sure.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm the defense, like you called it. Like, if you look at the time of possession, and I know we're talking about the first half, but if you go back and look at the time of possession, I was looking at this earlier in terms of that. In the second quarter, it was even.
Yes.
It was even. So, at that point, you're still battling. You're in the trenches. You come back at the halftime. The Chargers had the ball for 12 minutes in the third quarter.
They did.
Right. So all of this is a build-up. You talk about, when you talk about, hey, protect the defense, get the defense off the field. The fresher we are, the better we're going to play.
Sure.
Right? And it showed. Like, if you look at the rushing for the Chargers.
see that.
Yeah, if you look at the Chargers rushing, like, we held them below 100. They was less than us. And that's the kind of stuff, like, that you need to see from your defense.
You know
and
what's-
it helps your offense.
You know, it's pretty amazing, though. I just looked at that. 12 minutes of the quarter, 3 points.
3 points.
I mean,
3
that's
3 points.
3
Yeah.
points.
That's the key.
That's a great job
That's
by
a
the defense.
Great
Yeah.
job by the defense.
If we're gonna, and I told Nick on his show Storyline this morning, it ain't no more 4 or 5. They are still learning one another, and due to the fact that the offensive line has been banged up and this is only the second game, you give them this off week, the next week, then the 8th, they should be flowing if everyone stays healthy.
Yeah.
The rest of the league is going to go through their ups and downs too. You just think after Thanksgiving, you either one game out or one game ahead. Now you make the run.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now you make the run. We need every victory, and I don't care how it goes in these first 8-9 games.
Yeah.
You better have a win in the column.
Yeah.
One thing I will say coming out of the game was, and you talked about having to get wins by hook or by crook, no matter how you need to get them. One thing, if we're going to envision this team being a true NFC contender, got to clean up the penalties, number one.
Oh, big time.
And the other thing that bothered me was the idea that you had to call, I think, timeout not once but twice to avoid procedural penalties in the game as well.
Yeah.
That cannot be something that happens going forward. If we're going to talk about a team that needs to continue to build toward playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, playing against the San Francisco 49ers, can't have those kinds of mistakes in a football game like that.
Yeah, you can't beat yourself, right? There's a couple of things like that you look at. You don't want to beat yourself from a penalty standpoint. You want to win the turnover game, and you want to win time possession, right? And definitely from a defense, you want to solidify that line of scrimmage and hold them for the rush and turn them into a one-dimensional team.
Right.
If you can do all of those things, which, hey, sounds easy, hard to do.
Sure.
Right.
But if you can do all of those things, you're gonna the percentages say that you increase your chances of winning pretty much everybody you're playing against.
Yeah.
If you can win those things.
And I'm sorry, it was driving you up a wall sitting in the press box when having to call timeout to avoid 12 men on the field, that kind of thing that had to.
I thought it was Victor them that had y'all.
That was straight entertainment right there. I mean, that was Victor and Luis and the Cowboys Spanish broadcast. That
Shout out
was
to them in the press box, man.
I mean, it was awesome. Hey, this is where you're gonna put us. Hey, then this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And they did it. It was awesome. I wish I
won't
could
do that
understand it,
again.
but it was great.
You know what gets me about the Spanish broadcast is I'll be listening, and then they'll say something like, Parsons. And then they'll go back speaking Spanish. I'm like, if you can just say Parsons in English, say the rest.
Wow, Nate. Wow, now. They gotta say the player's name.
His
now.
name.
See?
His
No,
name is
but
his
I'm
name.
just saying, it is funny to me because I'm geeked up because they're geeked up, right? And they're speaking in Spanish, and all of a sudden they'll say, Dak. And
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put Nate on the Spanish broadcast next week. Or
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
I just
But
want to know, like, what do you think Dak Prescott translates into Spanish?
that's you the only one caught it. They didn't catch it. You the only one caught it.
I
I
caught it.
know. I heard what you said.
I caught it, but I'm throwing it
but,
back.
yeah, we're gonna put it down after
In
you
Spanish,
picked it up.
In
That's what we're doing.
Spanish, Tony is Antonio.
Facts.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all messing with a
Shout out to
y'all
Antonio.
mess with a
Shout out
smart,
to
not so
Antonio
smart
Ramiro
guy.
Romo,
Y'all
man.
messing with a smart.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Tony Romo, man. Shout out to Tony Romo, man.
Nadio.
Wow. It's Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC. We
I
got to
like
go
to
to break
cause
because they
trouble.
cutting up over here.
I like to cause trouble.
Let's take our final break before we get out of here tonight. Kevin Gray, 105 through the fan, Nate Newton, Nick Eatman, our Cowboys legend Tony Dixon joining us here live at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Coming up next, we're going to catch up with our Cowboys legend, see what he's got going on, try to keep these two at bay when it comes to Alabama and Arkansas.
More victories.
That's right.
Yeah, we got one.
We'll do it next on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Yeah.
Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Cowboys Crosstalk. Check this out. Live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Final time here on Cowboys Crosstalk presented by SWBC live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Let's take our final partner of the evening, Liberty Tax. Liberty Tax is a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Schedule an appointment today at libertytax.com/Cowboys. Kevin Gray of 105 through the fan. 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Nate Newton, Nick Eatman of DallasCowboys.com, host of Cowboys Storyline. And our Cowboys legend this week, Tony Dixon joining us live at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Before we get into anything Alabama Crimson Tide as they take on Rocky Top this weekend, Nick was really excited about today's show. He texted me. He's like, Kev, we got Tony Dixon on the program tonight. So excited to have Tony on. And obviously, a little bit of a draft story from the two that I want to hear about.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if Tony even knew this, but this is just kind of how the draft can go sometimes. You know, it's very chaotic in the war room. So back in 2001, they did not have a first-round pick. They had two in the second round at 53 and 56. So they got to figure out what they're going to do here. Quincy Carter was the guy that they really wanted. They wanted a linebacker named Quentin Caver. Quentin Caver, Quincy Carter, Quincy Caver, Carver. I mean, it's chaotic here. What are we going to do? We want both these guys, 53, 56. They decided on Quincy Carter. He's the quarterback. Get him first. We'll get Caver right after that. And then the Eagles jumped in at 55 and took Quentin Caver.
Wow.
So then they went and got Tony Dixon, who was right there. So it's just funny how sometimes just politics and names and chaos and all that kind of leads to it. But Tony told me something I didn't even know about. Because Quentin Caver ended up coming to the Cowboys because
he ended up coming to the Cowboys, which is interesting. So, of course, we knew each other from playing back in the days. But this was in 2005 when Dak Wynn ended up having an injury. So I had just signed back with the Cowboys like a week prior to that. And when Dak went down in that game, I think it was leading to a bye week, actually. And next thing you know, we need a linebacker. So guess what? They ended up cutting me and going with Quentin Caver.
Wow.
So hey.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. So it ended up being QC anyway.
Talk about a full circle moment.
Talk about a full circle moment.
A lot of SEC talk there. You know, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas guy.
Yeah.
But
Well, tell me about that draft day. What was that phone call like, getting that phone call from the Dallas Cowboys, knowing that you were going to put a star on the side of your helmet?
I mean, it was a dream. It was everything that people talk about, right? You when you're going through the draft, there's a few teams that you say, hey, I would love to play with them just because of the legacy and the history. I would love to be a part of that program. And when I got that call from Jerry and I heard him say, hey, Tony, this Jerry Jones, we're about to pick you as a 56th pick of the draft, it meant the world to me.
Yeah, it
meant the world to me.
Well, let's talk a little SEC football before we get out of here tonight.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you're a proud Alabama Crimson Tide. I know you're keeping up with your Crimson Tide these days. I mentioned a little bit earlier, playing Tennessee this weekend. Took out Nick's Arkansas Razorbacks in a close one.
Beat down.
Moral victory for Nick.
They covered, I guess.
At the same time, how much are you keeping up with Nick Saban's group these days, and how much you follow the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, I try my best to stay with him. I actually have a cousin that's on the defensive line that plays for him. He got his first sack during the game, number 93. So that was pretty awesome to live that. But no, I still, once you're a part of that type organization, you don't walk away from it.
Sure.
No different than the Cowboys.
So who's your favorite team on every Saturday right now?
Who's my favorite team?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, it's Alabama.
Well, you told me you be going to some other games, though.
Well, my favorite team is my son's team.
There we go.
So when we talk about that, my oldest son is a defensive back at Weber State up in Utah in the Big Sky Conference. So he just came off an injury, getting more playing time. He's going to be starting at the right corner, I think, this week. So looking forward to that. That's a dream outside of a dream. I never thought I'd see that and seeing my son playing on the collegiate level.
You had that. You had that with your
two
Texas.
of them, man.
Two of them.
Yeah. That's a great feeling, man. Woo. But anyway, it's all. But now, I just want to ask you this question right here, man.
Sir.
When y'all barely beat Arkansas. What was that feeling? Did you get Nick a call?
No,
I didn't give him a call, but definitely anytime we can beat that pig suey, pig suey, anytime.
Well, it's just been 17 in a row, so yeah.
Was 17 in a row?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. That's why that moral victory looked
but a lot of moral victories for you.
But I tell you what, Alabama though, they want a little revenge on Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
This week.
Oh yeah, we want some of that. Right.
Yeah.
And,
so is that you talk about the rivalry?
That's a perfect segue.
I was telling Kevin before the show, like a lot of people don't get me wrong, the Alabama-Auburn rivalry is one of the best rivalries in college sports. But as a player playing against Tennessee, that rivalry week is bigger than the Auburn game for us as a player.
Third Saturday in October.
Third Saturday in October.
What they call it?
Third Saturday in October, man.
Which is where we are.
And, man, like the hate that you have, like it's Tennessee hate week is what we call it.
Wow.
Literally, if you looked at social media after we beat Arkansas, 30 seconds after that, everybody changed their profile pictures to Tennessee Hate Week.
Wow.
That's how serious it is.
Wow.
That's very interesting because obviously we hear about the storied rivalry between the Tigers and the Crimson Tide. Had no idea that the hatred ran that deep that it's even maybe a bigger rivalry for players than it is taking on the Auburn Tigers.
Is it bigger than like the Houston Texas Ranger hate? Houston Astros.
That hate's getting pretty strong these days.
That's a pretty strong hate.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
pretty
pretty
strong
strong
hate.
hate.
I don't know. Did Tennessee cheat to win games?
Okay. No, I don't think so.
Wasn't no banging on trash cans for the Tennessee.
Bama been paying since Brown.
Wow, Nate. Nate, you on one tonight, man. You feeling good today?
He owned it
on
tonight.
Nick's
I
show
didn't know I was
earlier
going to work
today.
tonight, so I just having fun. I was
See,
going to work today.
This is what happens when the Cowboys win. Nate feel good coming off the Cowboys.
yes,
Everybody feel good.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a perfect way to end it because obviously coming off of the win on Monday night, we start to look forward. Obviously, the bye week guys get to rest a little bit, be able to recover, and then it's time to get ready for Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. It doesn't get any easier with a guy in Puka Nacua who's been fantastic at wide receiver for the Rams. Final thoughts on the win, though, from the Chargers. Nate, I'll start with you and what you saw, what you want to take away, and now what it's time to build on now that they got that San Francisco bad taste out of their mouth with a win on Monday night.
The offensive line has to play much better. If we're going to go anywhere, we're going to have to play better. We're going to have to play better, and that's what it's about. All the better teams in the league have one thing in common. They have good to great offensive linemen, and they're healthy. We have to get these guys healthy.
For me, I think, the teams know that CD wants the ball. Teams know Mike is going to rush. They got to figure out ways that you can't neutralize them. The Eagles have done a good job of neutralizing Micah at times. They got to figure out how to get those two guys, making plays every single week.
Yeah, and I look at that and say, hey, you got to build on the confidence that you established coming out of this game. I still think this is a team, in my opinion, a team still searching for their identity. And it takes trash games like that, right, and fighting through that grit to figure out who you are as a team, who you are as a player. And obviously, you're looking for the leaders to look and say what young player or experienced player is going to step up and take on some of this weight. And if they can keep stacking that, I think we'll be okay.
Real quick before we get out of here, Nate, what was your favorite bye week activity?
The one day that Jimmy gave us off a week. I'm just being honest. The one day he gave us off, yeah, that was on Sunday. Yeah, the week that you got to go watch everybody play anyway, so that one day he gave us off. Yeah, that was it. That was my favorite activity.
What was you doing? You just sleeping?
Just sleeping. Back then I used to drink, so, I just wake up with a beer can in my hand and go to sleep with whatever.
Real quick, what was your favorite bye week activity that you took advantage of?
Going back home. Like during that time, I would go back home, try to catch a high school game, college game, something like that.
How many days y'all had off, man?
Like 2.
Okay, one more than what we had. Yeah, you can travel.
It wasn't a lot.
They got the whole week off this week.
Yeah, man, have fun, fellas.
Yeah.
Just don't be the news.
And be smart. Be smart.
Don't be the news.
I like it.
How does Nick spend his bye week?
Probably be in the garage, like working on stuff. I don't know.
Your wife got a honey-do list for you?
Probably that. I'll be watching some high school games, some college games as well. Just.
I got a honey-do list, a honey bun.
Wow, Nate. Wow. One final zinger for Nate tonight. Yeah. Hey, I like this Nate. Man. This is a good. Cowboys need to win every week, damn it, so we can get this Nate every single week. Really appreciate him and his laughter tonight. Appreciate you, Nate. Want to appreciate our Cowboys legend, Tony Dixon, for joining us live at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Appreciate you having you, sir. Hopefully you had a lot of fun tonight.
Absolutely.
Nate, good to see you as always, my guy, man.
More victory, baby.
Right.
Appreciate you hanging out with us, Nick, tonight, man.
No problem, man. It was fun.
No problem.
It was fun.
Hey, we're off next week. Enjoy Week 7 of the National Football League and savor that Cowboys win. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks on Cowboys Crosstalk, presented by SWBC. Y'all be good.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!